All right, first tonight, the honeymoon. Well, guess what? And the sugar high from the coronation of Kamala Harris is beginning to wear thin. It'll take a little while. Her election year conversion and flipping and flopping and flailing on virtually everything is beyond the pale. It's like every day there's another flip, flop, flail. And by the way, her inability, unwillingness to speak off script, it should be disconcerting to every American. At least Joe Biden, at least he kind of had an excuse. He couldn't talk. Her track record is so historically bad, and her weird, radical, far-left running mate is now plagued by huge scandal, and he's as extreme as she is. We're going to get into all the detail, but we do begin with a shocking admission today. We discovered yet another insane position of the Democratic presidential nominee. Here's Kamala in 2019 telling a supporter that if elected, she's going to release all criminal illegal aliens, although she doesn't like that word. She wants you to have the courage to stop using it. We won't have her courage, which is stupidity. From detention centers, giving them free range across the United States. Listen to this.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one. And thank you for your work.
Now, that's America's border czar calling for criminals in this country illegally to be released right into a neighborhood near you. We'll tell you about some crimes later in the program that were committed by Harris Biden unvetted illegal immigrants. Late last week, she said she wants a pathway to citizenship for illegals. That's called amnesty, and in the country. And she wants to, as we all know, decriminalize illegal immigration and sanctuary states and give illegal aliens free housing, health care, education. And her crazy, weird running mate agrees with all the above and also wants to give legal driver's licenses in his state. But the dangerous far-left policies don't end here. It's only the beginning. Kamala is beholden to a radical, extreme, dangerous base. She always has been. She always will be if she's elected. These extreme policies in the Biden-Harris administration, they will now seem moderate by comparison. For example, here are just a few things. Oh, by the way, we keep updating her extremism every day. Here's a few things that Kamala pledged to do if she's ever president. Take a look.
If they fail to act as president of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster, to pass a Green New Deal.
You support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
We have to reimagine public safety in America.
She's promoting policies like saying that every single carbon emission in the country, every car, should be eliminated within the next 11 years, everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate. Do you agree that she could possibly, in this ideology of the socialist left, could splinter your party?
No. You know, I think that she is challenging the status quo. I think that's fantastic.
We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. We also have to increase taxes for the top 1%. And that part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up.
Would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
You know, the food pyramid, what people
yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would. And
plastic straws are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should.
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing. And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And I've, again, worked on that.
Mandatory buyback. Why do I think of the word confiscation? That was not long ago at all. But now, with Kamala at the top of the ticket, an election year conversion like this country has never seen before. Almost every one of Kamala's deeply held beliefs are so insane, She and her campaign now know that if she runs on her true beliefs, her true principles, she will lose and lose badly. So she and her campaign have decided to flop, and just flat out lie to all of you. Why? Because they'll do and say anything to win. Watch.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Things like fracking, for instance, she has changed her position on, which is good. And she has a legitimate point of view to say that.
We have to reimagine public safety in America.
It no longer supports any sentiment around defunding the police.
Millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
And she supports an assault weapons ban still, but she does not support anymore a requirement to sell them back to the federal government.
And it gets even more insane. Kamala is now even plagiarizing Donald Trump. She has a bold plan to end taxes on tips. But there's a catch I'll tell you about in a second. Take a look.
And it is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America, including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Two problems with Kamala's election year conversion and lie. First, she literally stole the idea from Donald Trump. And here's Donald Trump 2 months ago. And he said it many times since, before Kamala was even running for president. Take a look.
This is the first time I've said this. And for those hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy. Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips. I've announced that as part of those tax cuts, I will eliminate all taxes on tips. A very simple statement, no taxes on tips. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips. No tax on tips. And that'll be done immediately.
Now, here's the second and bigger problem for Kamala's promise to eliminate taxes on tips. You see, while President Trump genuinely wants to end these taxes and cut taxes when he did cut them when he was president, Kamala's just lying as a ploy to win votes. She doesn't actually want to eliminate taxes on tips. Now, how do we know that? Because in 2022, it was her, Vice President Kamala Harris, delivering, the tie vote in the U.S. Senate to pass the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. Now, this was a massive green new energy spending bill that actually made inflation worse, and it was paid for, in part, with taxes on tips. Here is yours truly last year warning you about Kamala's tax crackdown. Take a look. Biden seems intent on taking your earnings hostage. Now, the IRS, they just announced this week that they want to start tracking all of the tips that workers earn so that they can be taxed for it. So much for Biden's sacred promise not to raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year. Remember, this is all part of Biden's so-called Inflation Reduction Act. Now, if you work in the service industry, I spent like 10 years of my life doing that. You were recently audited, and you were recently audited by the IRS. You can thank Kamala Harris. If you work in the service industry and you have yet to face your audit, buckle up, because the Biden-Harris administration, they'll be coming after you in order to pay for their $93 trillion Green New Deal dreams. Will she actually ever be asked about this issue? Will she answer any tough questions at all? Take a look at this Fox News headline, quote, Kamala Harris has not held a press conference since emerging as the presumptive Democratic nominee. And this from the Washington Post, for crying out loud. Quote, questions we'd love to ask Kamala Harris. Why has she changed so many positions since 2020? And look at this, questions posed by The Atlantic. Why Kamala Harris's politics are so hard to pin down? I'll answer this one. If she tells the truth, she's going to lose in a landslide. She can't tell the truth. I love she says, well, on day one, I'm going to deal with inflation, and we're going to fix the border. That's my top priority if elected president. She acts like she's an outsider. She's been the vice president for 4 years, lying about inflation being transitory and the border being closed and secure. but she'd never been there, but she'd never been to Europe either. There's not even a policy section on her website. She can't defend the radical statements in her own words. Now, we just get whispers from anonymous campaign sources, vague platitudes during the same speech over and over again, delivered, of course, from a teleprompter. She won't even join her fan club on fake news CNN. Take a look.
You've now asked me 3 questions about comments that I made 3 years ago. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she supported policies that open the American southern border. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she lied to the American people about Joe Biden's middle facility for the office. You are interviewing me, Dana, because I respect the American people enough to sit down for an interview.
I appreciate that.
Kamala Harris has been the nominee for 3 weeks. She hasn't sat down for a real interview.
Believe me, we are asking. You're not going to get a disagreement there.
But the point is, Dana, you've got me for 15 minutes or however long you have me. We should be talking about public policies that matter. How are we going to lower inflation? How are we going to reduce the cost of food and housing? How are we going to close down that southern border? We've talked so little about that. We've talked a lot more about a sarcastic remark I made 3 years ago. I think we should talk about the issues that most Americans care about.
Checkmate, JD. It's actually pretty simple. If you want to predict how Kamala will really govern, look at what she does. Listen to what she said before she was actually running for president here. In the nomination, she was running hardcore, radical left of Bernie Sanders. She didn't even pick a moderate running mate to balance out the ticket. Walz is about as far left as it gets. In 2020, as governor, he stood by and did nothing while cities in his state were being burned to the ground for 5 whole days. But his family opened up the windows of their house. They wanted to bask in and take in the smell of the riots. Apparently, they loved the smell of burning rubber as their cities were burning, and he did nothing. Make no mistake, Walz is extreme, radical, and dangerous, just like her. Here's him in his own words.
So instead of speculating, I want to ask you directly. Governor Walz, are you a progressive or are you a centrist?
I'm a progressive. Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Should Minnesota be a sanctuary state?
If the definition of that is that the federal government enforces immigration law and local law enforcement enforces local law, then yes.
Should cities be allowed to be sanctuary cities?
Yes, local control.
Protecting and supporting access to gender-affirming health care is essential to being a welcoming and supportive state to the community.
He talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory.
Minneapolis, St. Paul, the state of Minnesota, nationally, and as we've seen over the last 24 hours, internationally. A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. There is so much potential here. Why would Minnesota not seize the moment and become the best state in the nation on equity? Why would you not add that to your accomplishments?
I think the mayor said I request a National Guard. Whew, I'm out. This is great. We're going to have massively trained troops. No, you're going to have 19-year-olds who are cooks in some cases.
Now, Walz trashes young service members in the National Guard. It is important to look at his service in the Guard. According to Walz, he bravely fought overseas with weapons of war that you shouldn't have and seemingly returned home with PTSD. Watch.
We can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states. And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And that was the extent of it. That was in 2004.
Yeah. Turns out Walz was never deployed to a combat zone. He served in Italy and a few other countries, not inside a combat zone. When he was deployed, he decided to hang it up and leave his battalion behind, even though he had 2 years left of service. As for his rank, Walz inflated that as well. In his biography and Twitter page, he referred to himself as a retired command sergeant major, which is inaccurate, a lie. According to allegations, Walz left the National Guard soon after learning his platoon would be deployed to Iraq. So the former leader of Walz's battalion had this to say, quote, he did not earn the rank or successfully complete any assignments as an E9, a sergeant major. It is an affront to the non-commissioned officer corps that he continues to glom onto this title. I can sit in the cockpit of an airplane. Doesn't make me a pilot. Tonight, the Harris-Walz ticket is crumbling under scrutiny, and the vetting has only begun. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.